Hi everyone, welcome to another Hero Arts video. This is Laura and today we'll be learning how to make this rocket ship slider card. It uses the new Clear Design robot set. You lift the tab, it says far out, and you can also open the inside of the card and write a message inside. So let's get started. First off, you'll want to stamp off some images using Black Memories ink. I've done a few here so that I can have some different color combinations to choose from once I've colored them in. I've used some markers and decided I liked the green one the best, so that's the one I've gone ahead and cut out, and that will go onto my pull tab. We'll start with a base black note card, and we will emboss a border on the top and the bottom of the card. I'll be using some white embossing powder from Hero Arts, as well as a small border stamp from the robot set and Versamark ink, which is perfect for embossing. I'll just repeat the stamped image all the way across the top. Then I'll sprinkle on some of the powder, and I'm using this embossing powder over a sheet of paper so that when I tap off the excess I won't lose that powder and I can put it back into the bottle. After you heat emboss, it'll get nice and glossy and solid white, which looks great against the black. And sometimes you get a little warping, so it helps to go ahead and open up the inside of your card and heat the opposite side for just a little bit. You'll repeat this on the bottom as well, and then you'll have your complete borders. Next we'll need 4 panels. You'll need a 3.5 inch by 1 inch strip of black, a 3.5 inch by 3 1/4 inch, which will be the bottom of your slider, a 3 3/4 inch by 3.5 inch, which will be the top of your slider, and then a green apple panel of 4 1/4 inch by 4 inches, which will be the bottom of the card. I've gone ahead and used a white Ink Essentials gel pen for the black panel and just a plain black gel pen for the green panel, and done dotted borders around both of those. So the first thing we'll need to do for our slider is to create that window on the top panel that the rocket ship will go on. I'm just going to take my pencil and roughly sketch the outline. And I know that I'm using dimes for this scenario, so I am measuring the width of the dime, and I know that I'll need to make a window that's a little bit less than 1/2 inch across for the dimes not to fall through. So I'll mark that measurement and that width, and then just following my original line, just sketch what that window should look like. I'm using dimes here as well because the image I'm using is fairly small, so a penny will stick out a little bit over the edges. I'll take a craft knife now and just follow the lines that I sketched to create the window. There's no exact science here. I'm not being precise because I know it's black on black and it's really not going to matter. Now you have your finished window piece, which will go over the bottom black panel and will be stamping through that window. So I'll align the window panel above the bottom panel, and I will take my sentiments. I'm going to start with the far out sentiment on the bottom left. I'll lay it down and then set my block on top of it and pick it up, and then I'll adjust it just a little bit to give the words an arch so they'll fit nicely into the window. I'm using Versamark ink again, and I'll stamp both the bottom sentiment as well as the hay sentiment at the top. I'll go ahead and heat emboss this just the same way we did with the borders, using the white embossing powder. And you may actually want to use one of the embossing buddies when you do this. because when you use those before you actually ink up the panel, it can keep you from having those little tiny pieces of embossing powder that you have to pick off of your paper. This is what you'll end up with once you have heat embossed those words, and next we want to go ahead and assemble the slider. So I'm taking a dimensional dot and I'm putting it and sandwiching it between two dimes. Then I'm adding another dimensional dot on top of the dime sandwich and adding the rocket on top. This can just be popped right into the hole or the track of the top panel, and you'll see it slides freely. This is very similar to a spinner card. Now we'll need to attach the pull tab by adding one more dimensional to the back of the dime on the back of the panel, and then adhering that to the left hand side of the pull tab. To adhere to the front, we'll need to add some more dimensional adhesive, and I'm only going to be adding this to 3 corners of my panel. The 2 bottom corners and the top left. I'm not going to do it on the right because I have to pull that tab all the way up and I don't want anything to block it. I'll just add another here in the middle to give a little bit more support. You can center it over your words. And now you're ready to add a sentiment to the tab. And you can also add a nice little decorative element on the end by taking a 1-inch hole punch, folding the circle in half, and then adhering that to the end of your tab. Then you can take a sentiment. I'm using the Happy Birthday sentiment from the robot set, and I heat emboss that, and I'm just going to cut out just the happy birthday, or just the happy and just the birthday, and leave out the middle, and then adhere those 2 words to my tab. I'll add some gemstones. I love these ones that have stars in them. These are new from Hero Arts, and they really make it look like a galaxy. You can bend the plastic back and just gently pull them apart with your fingernails. And there's the finished card. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.